Hi everyone, this is Evan with the Sustainable Seed Systems Lab. Today I'm going to walk you through how to go about analyzing images of seeds using the Phytomorph Image Phenomics Toolkit in the discovery environment within Cyverse. So let's get into it. So here we are in the discovery environment within Cyverse. I went ahead and opened up a window for the data, which is here, the apps, which you can see here, and the analyses, which is down here. I uploaded the images in this test folder from our scanning machine using the iPut command. It's part of the iCommands that you can use in Cyverse within the terminal, so it's command line driven. I'll put a link in the description so that you can learn more about that if you're not already familiar with how to accomplish that. But the first step we're going to do is create a high throughput file path using these images. So I'll go into File, Create. I'll automate the high throughput analysis path. You can either select all of these images and drag them in, or if you have a folder with different file types, you can drag in the folder. You can signify which file type you want to include in the path, and then you have to choose where you want the file to end up. So I'm just navigating now back to that test folder. I'll name this htpath. You can name it whatever you want. Now we have the result of that file path. We have the images that we selected from that folder to create the path. Next, what we want to do, go into the Phytomorph Image Phenomics Toolkit. I'm going to call this analysis test. You just want to choose a name that's going to be easy for you to see because it's going to show up down here with that name. I'm going to navigate again to the folder that we're working in. I'm going to select the single file tools. Today I'm going to be using the Arabidopsis seed method to analyze these images because they were captured with a dark background. Select that there. And then we're going to browse. We saved ourselves some time here because we've already selected the output folder. So now we can select that htpath and then we can launch the analysis. The test is successfully launched. What I did is refresh the window here, and now we can see that it's submitted. We refresh again. We can see now that it's running. So that's the first step. You need to upload your images to Cyverse, and then you need to create a HT or high throughput file path for those images. And then you need to go into the Image Phenomics Toolkit. You need to select single file tools, and then you need to select the algorithm that you're going to be using. Today I chose the Arabidopsis seed method because the images were captured on a black background. All right, so I just got an email notification that our test is done, so let's go check it out. All right, so I'll refresh the analyses here, and then we should be able to see that our test is completed. And there it is. So what we can do is we can refresh this data window. If we still have it open, we see the HT path we created, we see the test we just ran, but what we can also do is go to the output folder. So now we have a new data window that's just within the test. So each of the analyses is going to have various outputs and logs. What we're interested in this step is the JSON files. What we can also do is download the return so we can see the mask image. And since this is a test for me, some of these worked and some of them didn't work. But that's fine for the point of this video because what I just want to show you is how to get out the JSON files. So we need to create a high throughput multi-file path where we create a file path that can go into a JSON compiler where we have all the JSON files all ready to go. So what I'm going to do is create a multi-input path list file. I'm going to go to the test folder where we have all these analyses and drag in that folder. Select JSON as the file type, and then navigate to the test folder. Save us some time there and open right to it. And I'm going to call this the multipath. You can see that 3 of these test images were successful. So we have 3 JSON files. Now what we want to do is we can go back to our test folder. We can see the multipath there. So what I'm going to do is call this JSONs, because this is going to be an analysis run on the JSON files. Select the output folder, and I'll have to navigate to it here. There's the main test folder. Now we want to select multiple file tools. Using this drop-down arrow, we'll select compile JSON files, and then we need to select multiple input files. Creating this multipath saves us the trouble of going into each of those analysis output folders and dragging in the JSON files. So instead, we can just drag in our multipath, which has all the JSON files already threaded together, and then we can launch the analysis. I'll refresh the analysis window here. I will mention at this point in time that it took about 9 minutes to analyze those 8 images. So keep that in mind. If you're working with a very large image set, you may want to queue this up overnight or at the end of the day so you can come back to it and complete the process. So as those JSON files are compiled, we'll let it run, and I'll see you back when we have the results. All right, I just got an email that our JSONs are compiled. So let's go take a look. If I refresh the analyses here, we should see that the JSONs are completed. And again, we can either go to output folder, or we can refresh this folder here. So I'll just go ahead and select the JSONs folder, go to the output, and then we have our compiled data as a CSV file. You can use iCommands to download this, or you can just use a simple download through the discovery environment. Once that's downloaded, I'll show you what we've got. So you'll remember that we had just 3 images that worked for the analysis. And so we only had 3 JSON files. So we'll only have 3 rows in this CSV. All right, it looks like that CSV is downloaded and Excel has opened it. So let's take a look. Here is the file name. So this is whatever you entered when you scanned it. So this would have been bluetest.tiff and so on. So I'll do another video explaining what the columns represent throughout that spreadsheet. But I hope this was helpful as a walkthrough on how to take images into the discovery environment and then walk through the process for the image analysis and getting your data out at the end.